If I get too loud, y'all just let me know, okay? My name is Lesley S. I'm a grateful recovered alcoholic. And God has kept me sober since May 26th of 2017. Okay, now I gotta shake out the nerves. Hold on. Okay, so thank y'all for letting me come here and speak. I have not shared my story in a really long time. But yeah, so what it was like. I grew up in Midland. I have two sisters. My parents were obviously married when I was born. They divorced whenever I was about 10, I think is when they divorced. Yeah. So growing up, my real dad, okay? Y'all should know I call my stepdad Coach, and then my real dad, I'll sometimes call him Ray or Dad, just depending on where my mood's at. But he can be Dad for right now. So my real dad growing up, he was a cop, right? So I'm a cop's kid. And growing up was very rigid kind of in our household. There wasn't a whole lot that went out of the household, but there was a lot that stayed in, right? So I really grew up like, I can't do it with a microphone. I really grew up like not being able to really share my emotions and share my feelings and really like feel like I could share what was going on, right, in my household, because anytime my sisters and I would do anything that upset my dad, he would spank the shit out of us, right? And I didn't know it at the time, but it was abuse. It was physical abuse and emotionally abusive, verbally abusive. And he was like that with my mom too. And so I didn't know that for a really long time, until after getting sober, that's what was going on. My mom, I love my mother. She's a very, very, very codependent woman, just like I am. That's right, hashtag codependency. But growing up, she was a mother hen, right? So she wanted to make sure that we had everything we needed all of the time. And I love her for that, and I still do today. But I didn't ever feel like when I was growing up that I was really able to just be Lesley. I didn't feel like growing up I was able to just express how I was feeling or what I was going through, because like I said, a lot of stuff went in the house, but nothing ever went out, right? On the outside, we were this picture perfect family. But on the inside of the house is when shit hit the fan, right? So I guess from a very young age, it was just kind of like, keep your shit to yourself and don't let anybody know, and start putting on that chameleon mask that I'm sure we all are familiar with, right? So my parents divorced whenever I was about 10. My father cheated on my mother and got remarried 7 days later after their divorce. Not knowing what I know now, that affected me in a way to where I started to use men later on as a coping mechanism for not having my dad growing up. Okay, so I was trying to fill that internal void that I've had for the longest time with guys. So I was kind of like the oddball of the family. Really an oddball my whole life. Still am, but really growing up in elementary school, I would wear those. Okay, I would wear these like tomboy freaking shorts, right? With like these Hollister shirts. And I would go to school and I would think I was the shit because my mother was my PE teacher, okay? So I was a very spoon-fed child, if y'all can't tell by what I'm saying. I was a very spoon-fed child, okay? I was given everything I wanted. My mother did overcompensate for when my dad divorced her because she wanted to make sure my sisters and I had everything that we needed. But now looking back, I love my mom, but I sometimes wish she wouldn't have done that. Anyways, moving on. So elementary school, my mom's PE teacher. Elementary school was fine. Like I said, my mom did what she could. My grandparents, my maternal grandparents, we lived 4 streets apart from them. My mother's house and my grandparents' house still are 4 streets apart. So growing up, my grandparents and my mom did the best they could with us. And then we get into junior high. When I moved into junior high is when my stepdad and my mom, I think, married. They got married in 2010. My real dad and my mother divorced in 2007. So in 2010 is when my mom remarried to Coach. Coach is the completely opposite type of guy from my real dad. He is very logical. He is very calm. He is very collected. He thinks before he speaks. Nothing like any of my family members. We speak before we think. We act without reason. So him coming in was kind of like, okay, who is this guy, right? And why are you so weird? Like, why are you so weird? Because I'm so used to chaos. He's not chaos. So what I did was I started to create chaos because I'm good at that, right? I started to create this chaos because there wasn't any anymore. So I would act out in junior high. I would go to the principal's office. I was getting, what did they used to give you whenever you went to the principal's office and they would whip your butt? y'all know what? SWATs. I got SWATs whenever I was in junior high, right? So my drinking and my using started after junior high. So I get into high school, and I become a part of the dance team because I have, like any alcoholic, we just want to fit in. We just want people to like us, right? And so not having my dad growing up, my mother overcompensating, and just feeling like I could never express myself, I just wanted people to like me. Because if people could like me, I didn't have to deal with what was going on internally. I did not have to deal with the guilt and the shame from just feeling like a shithead is honestly how I felt growing up. Because I knew what I was doing was wrong, but I couldn't like stop acting out and making mistakes even before putting a drink or a drug in my body. I'll just say this right now, my story has drugs in it, and if it offends you, I don't know what to tell you. But it does. It's part of my story. So I go into sophomore year of high school, and I started, my first ever substance was marijuana, okay? I smoked marijuana, and like it talks about in the big book, I had arrived. I finally had found something that made me feel like I fit in wherever I was at. I didn't want to express the way I felt. I didn't want to try to go home and tell my mom, I had a bad day, and her to tell me like, oh, just suck it up, you're fine, don't cry, it's okay, wipe your tears. I didn't need to do that anymore because I finally had found something that made me feel like it was okay to just be myself, even though I really wasn't being my actual self. I was being this delusional person. But it started with marijuana when I was 16. From the ages of about 16 to 18, I guess was like my first downward spiral, if you will. It was a lot of alcohol, a lot of downers, a lot of opiates, a lot of this or that or the other, right? I hadn't really moved and took in like the harder stuff, if you will. But I first went to treatment whenever I was 18. My stepdad and my mom had given me this ultimatum because they had caught me the night before I went into treatment the first time. I went home because I used to like to steal money from my parents, because I needed money to get the stuff I was doing. So I used to steal money a lot. And so I went into my mother's room as they're sleeping. This is like at 2:00 in the morning. And I had graduated high school by this point. So I graduated high school, and now I'm kind of in college, but not really in college because I didn't really care about going to class. So I go into my mom's room, and I'm crawling, right? I'm like crawling on my hands and knees to go get her debit card because I knew her PIN number. So she wakes up, and I run out of the house. So the next morning, they tell me, they're like, okay, you can either go get some help or like get out of our house. Get out of our house or go get some help because we don't know what to do with you anymore. My mother was my enabler. Okay, she was always there to put a pillow underneath my ass. And that helped me sometimes, but I'll get to it later how when she didn't do that, how it helped save my life. But for a lot of times that I fell, she was there to pick me right back up, right? So whenever I was 18, I went to Springboard in Midland. I went there to get them off my back. I went there because I was tired of hearing them tell me to stop using and drinking. I went there because I was tired of really not having anywhere to live at that point. And I really didn't want to live on the streets at that time because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it on the streets. So I hadn't gotten to that point just quite yet. So I get out of treatment and I moved to Austin, right? Because a geographical cure is going to freaking help me. If I can just get away from everyone else and not focus on me, my problem's going to be fixed, right? So that's what I did. And I went to sober living down there. I truly believe anybody can get sober anywhere. It doesn't matter where you do it at, but you have to actually want to be sober. That's the thing. You actually have to be willing to get sober and actually do the crap necessary to stay sober. I didn't do that. I was sober, and I put that in quotations because I was really dry. I didn't do anything. I went down there. I lived in the sober living house. I went to meetings. I said what I was supposed to say, and what do you think happened? I relapsed. That's when I found cocaine. And cocaine and alcohol for me went hand in hand because I could drink a lot and do a lot of cocaine but not feel so drunk to where I'm passing out, but it would keep me level, right? Or so I thought. So that's when I found cocaine. I got kicked out of that sober living house. I was so delusional, you guys, that I told my mother, this is why I relapsed, okay? This was my reasoning. I accidentally ate a marijuana brownie. And it just happened to have powdered sugar on it that just happened to be cocaine. Like, that's my delusion that I was in. Now, unfortunately, at the time, my mom was kind of naive, so she believed me that I just happened to eat a marijuana brownie with cocaine on top of it. Anyways, so she came down there, she helped me move out, and I moved in with the girl that I relapsed with, who was also in the sober living house at the time, but my mother didn't know that we relapsed together. So I guess this is when, it's probably like 19 at the time. Yeah, 19. Yeah. I moved, when did I move down there? I don't remember. Honestly, I can't remember the years. But I'm about 19 or 20 at this time. So I'm trying to work. I'm trying to find a job. I'm still trying to like be able to help pay these bills that I really don't give a shit about. But we're using every day. We're drinking every day. That's all I'm doing every single day, right? I did what I do best, and I stole money from that girl. And I decided to write a note telling her I found her debit card, right? I wrote this anonymous note that I found her debit card and that $200 was taken from it. Signed anonymous. I remember writing that. She knew it was me, okay? Like, who else is going to just happily find her debit card out of her wallet? So she kicks me out. My mom comes down there again and helps me get my own apartment. At this time, I enrolled in Austin Community College. Now, this whole time, y'all need to know that on the outside, I might have looked, right? I might have kind of had my shit together, but internally, I absolutely did not. Absolutely did not. My whole life, I did not. Until I got sober, I had that spiritual malady, that horrible, incomprehensible demoralization like talks about in the big book. I had that my whole life until I got sober. Okay, so she comes down there, she gets me this apartment. I go into Austin Community College, and I somehow manage to go through a semester of college, because at this time I'm doing the marijuana maintenance program and I'm only smoking weed, right? I'm not drinking, I'm not doing the hard stuff, but I'm only smoking marijuana. And somehow managed to pass that first semester of college. And then I also loved just taking the money that the government would give me from the loans, and just taking that and then just blowing it instead of, like keeping it and being a responsible human being. I didn't do that. I would take it and blow it on whatever I wanted to. So I somehow managed to do that, and I started working at Texas Roadhouse. This is when I found the people that you find when you want to start getting fucked up again. Because that's what I do, right? I will find the people that are like me. Because if you're not like me, then you don't have anything for me. And if you don't have anything for me, I don't have anything for you. So I start working at Texas Roadhouse and meet this girl, and she has this dealer, blah, blah, so on and so forth, and crazy stuff happens. Fast forward a little bit is my first arrest. And I got busted with 6.5 grams, okay? You might think that would be like, whoa, calm your roll a little bit. Like, you're kind of going a little crazy, right? No. It scared me. I can't say that it didn't scare me, because I think I stayed in an apartment for like 2 weeks and didn't do anything. Oh, and before that had happened, my apartment had got broken into. So like that was fun. Everything was taken. Anyways, it's just the craziness of this disease. I really can't even explain it sometimes, what I was thinking or how I was thinking, because I don't even know, but I kind of stopped for 2 weeks, but then I start right back up again. And then I turned 21 while I'm living down there. The 21 birthday, I hardly remember. I remember waking up in the grass the next day outside my friend's house. I don't really know how I got there, but after I turned 21 is when I moved back to Midland. Yeah, I moved back to Midland December of 2016. Because at this point, I had dropped out of college. Okay, by this time, let me back up a little bit. By this time, I had dropped out of college like 4 or 5 times. I had a lot of F's on my transcripts. And I'm at the point now where, like, if I enroll in a class, I have to take that class. Like, I don't get any more withdrawals because I've done all of that. So I moved back to Midland because I called my parents and I'm like, I can't pay my bills. I can't do this, because I couldn't pay my bills because I was doing what I was doing. And my mom was actually paying my bills at the time. If y'all can't tell, she's a really bad enabler. But she's not the reason I drink or use. So I come back here and I'm like, okay, parents, I'm going to do it this time. I'm going to freaking do it, okay? We're going to enroll me in Midland College, and I'm going to live with you guys, and I'm going to freaking do it, okay? I promise. And I will tell you, people, I meant that. I really did. I really meant that I was going to try to get my crap together. But I couldn't. Because like it talks about in where, I don't know where your steps are. It talks about in step 1, I am seriously powerless over anything I put in my body. You know, I'm powerless over men. I'm also powerless over money. I'm also anything that makes me feel differently, I am powerless over it. And I could go for maybe like 2 weeks at a time and not try to use or drink and like kind of get my crap together, but then I would just go right back to it, okay? So by May of 2017, from December 2016 to May of 2017, I really don't remember a whole lot. That is when my disease really just kind of went, honestly, as down as it probably could have gotten for me personally. And I remember waking up, I remember waking up on the 25th of May in 2017. And like I mentioned earlier, that incomprehensible demoralization that it talks about in the book, God, that was me. Oh my God. I woke up and I was just tired. I was so, it makes me so cry. I was so tired. You know, like when you can remember stuff like clear as day still, I'm so grateful for that shit sometimes. But I was just so tired of being tired. It talks about somewhere in the book or something I read, thank you. It talks about somewhere where it's like the battle to do work or something like wasn't there. I don't know if it's, I think it's in the 12 and 12. It talks about it like the battle to do something, the battle to fight or something was like not there or something. I could be making that up, but I remember reading it somewhere. But to me, the battle was trying to get messed up every day because that was exhausting. Right? That was freaking exhausting. It wasn't the battle of trying to stop and stay stopped. It was a continuous battle of having to get messed up and having to do these things because I didn't like who I was, because I could not handle life. So I call the Springboard Center because I had been there once before, and I was like, hello, I think I have a problem. I would like to come back. And I call my mom and I'm like, hello, mother. By this time I had moved out of my parents' house. Well, moved out, but whatever. Everything I owned was in my car. And I was like, Mom, I think I have a problem. Like, I think I need help. And she was like, yeah, I think that's a great idea. And so I go to the Springboard Center on the 25th of May. Now, my sobriety date is the 26th because I was not sober when I went to treatment. Absolutely not. I did the rest of the stuff that I had because I was like, well, if I'm going to get sober, I might as well just get messed up one more time. I'm sure nobody else has done that. But yeah, so I went in, and this is the alcoholic I am. I don't know if any of y'all have ever been to treatment. I don't know if any of y'all have ever been to the Springboard Center. But they do not like phones. And this is the delusion that I was in. I had my phone, and I snuck my phone in. How? I don't remember. But I put my phone somewhere, and I got it in, and I was chilling in detox, you guys. Watching Netflix, texting my friends, like, I'm going to get sober, and it's going to be great. Well, my phone was dying, so I wanted my phone charger. And so I called my mom while I'm in the detox bed, and I'm like, hey, Mom, can you bring me my phone charger? And she's like, they let you have phones in rehab? And I'm like, yeah. And she brings me it. Well, of course, when you're in treatment, everything that they bring to you, the workers have to go through it, right, to make sure nobody's bringing in contraband. Well, of course, they find out it's a phone charger. Like, hello, like, they're, like, not, messed up in the head. So I go and I ask them if I can have the charger to my straightener. The charger to my straightener. And they didn't give it to me. So I wanted to leave. And I threw a fit because I did not get my way. See, that's another thing, too. When Lesley didn't get her way, Lesley would throw a big fit. Because like I said, I was a spoon-fed child. I got everything I wanted growing up. So when people didn't give me what I wanted, I just threw a fit to get what I wanted until I got what I wanted. Somehow or another, it would work. But it did not work whenever I was at Springboard. And that was probably the first time in my life. I couldn't see it at the time, but that was the first time that I had realized that what I was doing was not working. What Lesley was doing was not working. And so I threw this fit, and there was this tech that worked in there. And his name is Carol, and I don't know if any of y'all know him, but he helped save my life. And I mentioned before about my mom. My mom, when she finally got to the point between December and May, she finally told me one night, she goes, Lesley, if you don't come home, like, you're gone. Like, I can't do this anymore. I can't watch you kill yourself anymore. That's the best thing that woman has ever done for me. Because she wasn't there to pick me up again. And that's what I needed. I needed that so bad, and I didn't even know it. These aren't sad tears. These are like really happy tears because I'm really grateful for it. But I am super grateful for that, for my mother, because she finally did not put a pillow underneath my ass and say, come on, Lesley, I'm going to pick you up. You know, because people had done that my whole life and it didn't get me anywhere. And I would run rampant and like a tornado in front of everyone's lives because I got away with so much crap, you know? And so, so I'm in treatment, and this tech named Carol, he was really annoying at the time, and like he just told me, he asked me if he could buy me a soda pop. And I was like, I do not want a soda pop. I want to leave. I want the keys in my car. Like, give me my shit. I want to go. Anyways, they call my parents, and my parents are like, we don't have her keys, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so I ended up staying. And I'm very grateful that I ended up staying. And I'm very grateful for that, for Carol. And I'm really grateful for that man. He helped save my life. And I can't tell y'all that when I went into treatment, I knew I was going to stay sober. I didn't. I just knew I was super tired. And I was super done, and I hated the way I felt inside. So I go through the 30 days, but I listen this time. I listen. And I actually try to work the steps, and I do a fifth step in there. I can't tell y'all what was on it. But I do a fifth step in there, and I get out, and I go to sober living here in Midland. Midland was my stomping grounds, you guys. Like, I never thought I could get sober in Midland and actually stay sober in Midland, or Odessa for that matter, because I would go back and forth. But I have so far, because, you know, God and the steps and everything that works. But I went to sober living, and I just kind of started doing what I was told. Okay, not from the very beginning. I balked, and I did everything they told me not to do when I first got into sober living, and I almost got kicked out. And because I was still just trying to do it Lesley's way. But again, it did not work with those people. They didn't co-sign my bullshit. They did not put a pillow underneath my butt. So I stayed in sober living for about a year. I think a little bit more than a year. And I moved in with my grandparents, who are 4 streets down from my mother. And I don't remember how long I lived there for. I can't remember. But I enrolled back in college after I hit about a year sober. So now I'm going to get to the solution, right? So that's what it was like and what happened, right? And so I moved in with my grandparents, and I decided to go back to school. And for the longest time, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, right? Because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know how to love myself. I didn't know my worth or my value. I definitely did not know that my purpose was not to drink and drug and die. So once I figured out that my purpose was not to drink and drug and die, I was like, okay, well, maybe my purpose is something else. And so I enrolled back in school, right? And this is probably one of the scariest things I think I've done, because I hadn't never been successful in it, right? The steps on the wall is what helped me get there, though. That's the point that I hope, if y'all take anything from my story, it's to work the damn steps. It's to work them, and to work them with somebody who has worked them with somebody who has worked them, you know, because this is what the program is designed to do. The program is designed to get us connected to God, and the program is designed to get us to carry the message, right? But not just in here, but outside too. Okay. And that is what I have done. But I've only done that because I decided to listen, which is really hard for me at times. But I decided to listen, and I decided to work the steps, and I found a relationship with God, which is the best thing that sobriety has given me. is my relationship with God today. So I enroll back in school, and I'm living with my grandparents, and I'm like super nervous to go to school, and I enrolled back at Midland College. I don't know why they accepted me back, but like I've never been there 6 times. But they accepted me back. So yeah, I go to school, and I'm living with my grandparents, and I'm going to meetings, and I'm just trying to do the deal, and I'm just trying to do it the best that I can. So I end up finishing school. I'm a drug and alcohol abuse counselor now. And, but I only found that purpose through getting sober, and through going through the program, and through working the steps, and through going through the shit that I went through. You guys, I am so damn grateful to be an alcoholic. I'm so grateful for it, because it's gotten me to where I'm at today. I feel bad for normal people. I really do. Because they don't have the steps. They don't have a connection to God. Some of them do, maybe, I don't know. But they don't get to practice this stuff like we do. I used to hate having to admit that I was an alcoholic. I used to hate it. I did not want to be an alcoholic, and I did not want to be a drug addict. Because I was not like you people, right? The first time I went to treatment, I was not like any of you. I hadn't went that low. I hadn't done that. I hadn't smoked that. I hadn't done that with that guy, you know? But those were all yets, because what happened is I ended up doing it, you know? And now, looking back, I'm just so grateful to be an alcoholic. I'm grateful, and then sometimes I'm like not grateful, because my mind, you know, it's like really crazy sometimes up here. But the program, man, like the stuff the program has done for me, like I really cannot put it into words what this program has done. Because for the first time in my life, I love who I am. And that's a really cool fucking thing, y'all. And I know who I am. And that took a lot of hard fucking work. Sorry I cussed from the podium, but it took a lot of hard work. And it still does. I'm going back through the steps for God knows how many times. But like every time you go back through the steps, you get to learn more about yourself, right? And you get to learn, well, I get to learn how much more insane I am. But that's fine, because if I don't learn about my insanity, how can I become sane again? You know? And what steps 1, 2, and 3 taught me, I had a sponsor explain it to me like this, and it's really stuck with me, is like steps 1, 2, and 3 can honestly, I try to apply it to sometimes every aspect of my life, not every aspect, but most aspects of my life. So like if I become like super insane again, I go to step 1. And it's like I said, I'm not just powerless over alcohol, but I'm powerless over a lot in my life. I do have control over like my actions and my reactions, how I treat people, what I say to people, you know, if I decide to be a bitch or not. Like I do have control over that, right? But the things I don't have control over, that's what I can replace in that step, right? With it, just like life situations, because the program is not just about not drinking or using or whatever it is you were doing, right? The program is designed to help us live, but to be productive members of society. Because I don't know about y'all, but I was not that. I was not a productive member of society. I would take your money and take your boyfriend and then help you look for him. Like, that's really what I would do, you know? And so if I'm going through stuff, I just go back to the steps. And let me explain this and see if this makes sense. So like in step 1, she explained to me how like I can admit like I am powerless over a TV. Okay, this sounds really stupid, I know, but it works. I'm powerless over a TV, right? Because if I think that I have, or my husband, I'm sorry, I'm powerless over whether or not my husband buys a TV. Okay, because if I really want the TV, I really, 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 really want it right then and there, right? But I don't have control over whether or not he's going to actually go buy it. But what I do is my life becomes unmanageable because of the obsession that goes on in my head. Because see, this is where the disease centers. It's not about the external for me. It's not. Because my dad leaving, my parents divorcing, my mom enabling me, my freaking family being so close together my whole life, none of that made me drink or use. None of it. What made me drink or use is the internal spiritual malady that I had. I had a God-shaped hole inside of myself from the time I came out of my mother's womb, you know? And until I got sober and started doing this thing. And so my life will become unmanageable because of the insanity that comes back in step 2. And so I have to ask myself if God can restore me back to sanity with any situation in life. Because if I believe that there's a God, like it tells me in step 3, all I got to do is make a decision, right? To just turn my will and my life over. And I've realized now my will is my life and my thoughts are my actions today. And so that's what I do. And like in step 4 and 5, I actually just did a 4-step not too long ago. And there wasn't a whole lot of information on it, but that's one of the hardest 4 steps I've ever had to do, that I've ever done. Because I've realized the longer I stay sober, the more I start to learn about myself, the more awareness I start to get, which I'm grateful for that, but sometimes I really hate it because I know what I should and shouldn't do, and then I still do the thing I shouldn't do. And so there wasn't that much information on that 4-step, but what the information was is what made it hard. But see, that's one of the things that God has given me, is He has given me a willingness, you guys, that does not come from me. Because if it was up to me, I would probably still be drinking and using, honestly, or dead at that point, because I had already been to jail and I had already been institutionalized. And the next thing it tells me in the book is I'm gonna die. So I don't know if I would be dead yet, but I know for sure I was on my way there, you know. And step 6 and 7 too. These steps are the shortest steps in the big book. It kind of makes me a little irritated because to me, this is where my character actually starts to develop within the program, is knowing my character defects and having the awareness when they're popping up and the willingness to stop practicing them when they do. Do I do it all the time? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I try my best. I do. And, you know, steps 8 and 9, I hate steps 8 and 9, if I'm being quite honest with you, because I don't like making amends. But I will do it if I have to. I will do it if I am wrong, because that is what the program tells me to do. That's what you people have taught me. Because see, when I stopped doing this, I mean, you're going to ask anybody who knows me, okay? I'm a very expressive person. I'm a very loud person. But when Lesley stops doing this and Lesley just starts taking the power back that I think I have from step 1, I go 0 to 100 faster than I do when I'm actually working the steps, because I still go 0 to 100, but like not as fast, you know? And anybody who knows me knows that my insanity, it's like this revolving like door that I'm in, and I'll just keep going and hitting my head into this wall over and over and over again until I finally take the blinders off and let God direct me, you know? And I'm grateful for that today. I'm grateful for that today because, like I said, steps 8 and 9, I don't like them, but I'll do them, right? But they help me with humility too. Because if I don't have humility in my life, you guys, I can't honestly try to be genuine with other people. Because I do sometimes think I'm the shit. I don't know about any of y'all, but I do. And if I don't try to practice humility, I'm going to continue to think that. And then that's when my character defects come back up. And then that's when I don't have the awareness or the willingness to try to stop practicing them. Because I honestly thought the first time that I did step 6 and 7, my character defects were going to go away. I really did. I really, really thought that this God was going to come down and just remove all my character defects, right? Fuck no, that does not happen. Character defects are with me. I don't know about y'all, but they're going to be with me the rest of my life. The way that they dissipate is when I stop using them. Is when I stop practicing them. Is when I start asking God to take them, to remove them as He sees fit. Not as Lesley sees fit, but as He sees fit. Because that's something that I've had to learn is my life is not about Lesley's timing. Do I try to make it Lesley's timing? Yes, I do. But does it work? No. It's about God's timing. And it's about God's will. And I used to try to figure out what God's will was all of the time. Like, because if I could know everything, like if I could know what God's will was for me, I would know what not to do. And the fear of the unknown is such a factor for me sometimes that I just want to have all the answers. And if I can just have all the answers, then I will just know what to do. And then if I can know what to do, whatever's going to happen won't happen, because then I can control it. But I really don't have any control in the damn first place, you know? Steps 10, 11, and 12, I mean, to me, these are not my maintenance steps. These are my growing steps. And they're my growing steps because if I'm trying to just maintain my sobriety, I'm already taking that step back to going to drink or use. I am. I have to continue to grow, right? Because I can get real complacent. I can. I've done it. In sobriety. I have gotten, I'm going to use what Kenny sometimes says, drier than a popcorn fart in sobriety, okay? And it is not fun. It is not fun being so dry in sobriety and knowing what to do but not doing it. To me, that's sometimes worse than actually drinking or using because then I don't have God in my life. I do not want a life where I don't have a relationship with God. I don't. Because I know that without Him, I don't have what I have today. I know that without Him, I can't stay sober. And if I can't stay sober, I will die. And that is my truth. Because I have proven it over and over and over again that I cannot stay sober on my own, left to my own devices, you know? Step 11, though, has changed a lot for me throughout the past 4.5 years. And I first started trying to, pray, be holier than thou. And I don't know why I was trying to do that because I've never been holier than thou. But I was trying to pray the right way and say the right things for God because I wanted God to love me. And what has happened over the last 4.5 years is I started to realize that, God loves me regardless. I don't have to say the right things or do certain things for God to love me because He already does. But that's taken me a while, y'all. And sometimes I still fall back into that. My prayer life looks completely different than it did when I first got sober. I'm going to say this, and maybe I shouldn't, but I don't care. I don't get on my knees every day and pray anymore. I don't. Because my life has changed. God has given me all of these things, right? But I try to make sure that what AA has given me does not take me away from AA. That's the thing. Because life can get super good and life can be going super great and I can feel super great and then I won't come to meetings because I've done it and I won't think that I need you people because I've done it. I'll get resentful at you people because y'all are happy and I'm not. Right? Because that's what I do. That's what I do. I don't know. AA has given me so much, y'all. It has given me a life worth living. And I didn't know that I was worth living before I got sober. I didn't know that I was worth being loved. I didn't. I got married in sobriety. Why the fuck am I crying about that? I've been married to him I've been with him for well, y'all want to know a fun fact? Hold on, let me back. This is so off subject. I met my husband when I was 90 days sober. I don't recommend it. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, I was a lunatic, y'all. I was an absolute lunatic. I love you, babe. But, oh my God, I don't recommend it. I did not know what I wanted, but I was doing what I always did, and I was trying to fill a void inside of myself with another guy instead of filling it with God's will, right? But I got married in sobriety. We'll be married 2 years this year. We are building a house. The fuck? We're building a house. I don't have to pay rent anymore, y'all. Y'all know, that's baffling to me, honestly, because rent is so expensive and I hate paying rent because I just feel like it's a waste of money. But my credit score is actually good enough to build a house now. And it baffles me, right? Because when I first came here, that wasn't even on my radar. That was not even on my radar. Trying to be a wife and actually give a crap about somebody else and not myself did not appeal to me, right? I just wanted to take. And he knows this, but that's what I did with him in the very beginning, But God did a lot for us. That's all I can say. We're building a house, right? Like I said, I got through school. I finished my associate's degree last year. I'm a drug and alcohol abuse counselor. I'm getting my bachelor's right now. Because I have visions for myself, y'all. I have dreams. I have goals. I have ambitions. And I can do them. because I'm sober. Because I do the steps, because God has given me the willingness to stay sober on a daily basis, no matter what. And I used to hate that freaking saying because I was like, if I could just stay sober, no matter what. No. But it's true. Okay. It's true for me now. God has given me a willingness that's indescribable, and I can't explain it. I just can't. But I know every day when I wake up, if I make a conscious contact with him, he's going to keep me sober. I know that. But it's taken me a while to get there. And sometimes I don't feel him. I do not know about y'all, but it tells us in the big book that we will not feel God's presence at all times. Okay? And when I don't feel his presence, I'm like, what am I doing wrong? God, I hate you, or I'll come up with a million reasons why I can't feel his presence. But the thing about it is I have to continue to do the things that I've always done, right? Because his presence comes back. And the fact that it tells me that in the big book helps me know I'm not crazy, because that happens. What else has happened in sobriety? Man, so much. I don't really have a relationship with Ray. I kind of do, but I kind of don't. I don't really feel like forgiving him, but then I kind of do. But it's like a work in progress, I guess, which is something that has taken me a long time to get to. My older sister, hallelujah, she hated me, y'all. She hated me. I don't really know if she still likes me or not, but I'm gonna think that she does. We have a relationship today, and it's weird because she'll call me randomly sometimes, and I'm like, why are you calling me? This is so weird, because she never just calls me just to have conversations. She's always calling me because she needs to tell me something, or give me an order or something like that, But we have a relationship today, and she literally hated me for the longest time. And we actually fist fought when I was in sobriety, when I tried to make amends to her. So that one didn't go very well. That one was not a pleasant amends. But then, time passed, God happened, and then now we're good. But I am able to show up today. I'm able to show up for people. My life looks a lot different than it did when I first got sober. I used to go to meetings all the time. I go to about 2 meetings a week now. But see, the thing about it is that I have learned that my sobriety is not contingent on how many meetings I make. It's contingent upon the maintenance of my spiritual condition. And it tells me that in the book. Do I need meetings? Absolutely. Because they remind me why I'm an alcoholic. Y'all help me. Y'all remind me of things that I forget, because I'm a very forgetful person. But I know at the end of the day, y'all are not going to keep me sober. God is. God is going to keep me sober. My old sponsor used to not answer my questions and it used to make me so mad. I would just be like, just tell me what to do. And she would be like, no, you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. And I used to get so mad at her. Oh my God. But it's because she didn't want me to depend on her for my sobriety. She wanted me to depend on God. She wanted me to realize that at some point my life was going to get to where it's at now. Again, it's only going to get better, but it was going to get to a place where I am busy and I do have a career, and now my husband and I are trying to build a house. And I don't say all of this to sound boastful or egotistical. It's just what happens when you get sober and you do the damn work. It can happen for anybody, I've seen it happen for Kenny. I've seen it happen for Cole and Tanner and Sebastian. I mean, I've seen it happen for people, And I don't know, y'all. I really don't. I just know that every day when I wake up, I make a conscious contact with God. And if I do that, I know I have a chance at staying sober that day. If I pick up the phone and call my sponsor, she will help me too. And she'll help me realize where I'm crazy at, or where I'm delusional at, or not. I have a new sponsor now. I've referenced my old sponsor, but I do have a new sponsor now. She won't answer my damn questions either, And I'm like, I would really just like to find somebody that would answer my questions, but I don't need that. And God knows I don't need that. I don't want somebody to co-sign my shit because it's not going to help me grow. And like I said, I don't want to maintain. Because I have tried to do that in sobriety, and I have damn near relapsed. And I have gone bat crap insane from trying to just maintain where I'm at, yeah, like I said, I'm getting my bachelor's. I have these dreams and these goals and these ambitions, and I want to have a baby. Like, I want to be a mom. Like, that was not on my radar when I'm not pregnant. Please do not go around saying, the speaker said, no, I'm not pregnant, okay? If I was pregnant, I would tell y'all, but I'm not. But I want to become a mom, right? And, like, thinking of, like, being responsible for a whole nother human is like, oh my God. But see, I'm able to do that today. I'm able to do that. And the only reason why I'm able to do that is because I'm sober. It's because I do come to meetings and I do work the steps and I do talk to God. If I can't stress another thing to you guys, find a higher power. Because if you cannot stay sober without one. I don't care what it is. I don't. I don't give a flying floop if it's that person's sponsor or this or not sponsor, that person's God or this person's higher power or a woman or an alien. I don't care. I don't. But find something and hold on to that something. Because you just can't stay sober without one. Trust me, I've been there. I've done it. I've watched people do it. I have watched people come in and out of treatment over and over and over again and not understand why they can't stay sober. And a common denominator between a lot of them is because they don't have a higher power. They don't pray. They don't try to, you know? You have to have all of the sides of the triangle, right? The unity, the service, and the recovery part. You know? You have to be doing that, but you also have to be praying, you guys. Because I don't have all the answers today. God, if I did, you know, the world might be a little better place. No, I'm just kidding. But I don't have all the answers today, and that's okay. But I know that God does. And God will give me the answers that I need when He knows I need them. I think that's about all I have. I am super grateful to be sober. I am very grateful I had this opportunity. And if y'all need to talk about anything, I'm feel free to come up to me after the meeting. Thank y'all for my sobriety.